Hello and welcome back, everybody. Now, today, we're going to be looking at the 10 creepiest pieces of cut content in the Arkham games. And man, are the Arkham games perfect for it? Some of the most terrifying games out there, with even more terrifying details.
Oh my god, bro.
But anyways, I've seen a couple other people make videos on various cut contents, and so I thought it'd be a great idea to take some of the creepiest out there. I got all of them from the Arkham Wiki, but I do know Phone Forum and K-Nerd have done some videos on this, so other than that, make sure to join the Discord and sub to the channel, but let's go ahead and get into the very first detail. So, why don't we begin with what may visually be the most terrifying on the entire list. Joker's original design in Batman Arkham Asylum. Normally, getting to the end of OG Arkham Asylum, we come to find that Joker has decided to be super kind and inject himself with the Titan, rather than one of the henchmen. Kinda like, when kings used to fight on the battlefield with other soldiers. Just so wholesome. But anyways, normally Joker is this giant, menacing Titan beast with huge claws and muscles, but he looks more close to the regular Titan henchman when he juices him up. But originally, Rocksteady devs had some different ideas for Joker's model. Originally, Joker was supposed to be more of a spider-like figure with wiry limbs and a nice big smile. But luckily, they decided to go away with that monstrosity and go for the muscular build we see today. I will say, having a boss fight with the Spider Joker where it's sort of a Killer Croc style boss fight would be terrifying and so sick at the very same time. Imagine the lights flickering, you're in some sort of underground tunnel system, and you randomly hear something crawling around with a mutated Joker laugh. Yeah, don't think so. I would love a Batman horror game though, so any Steam devs out there, please hit me up. It would be a blast to play with other people, but let's go ahead and move on. Now, Talia is definitely one of the baddest characters in DC. Baddest as in most badass. Yeah. Anyways, what could be even badder than a regular Talia? Clayface Talia. Right? Well, anyways, in Arkham City, we of course fight Clayface at the end of the game, who's impersonating Joker the entire game. But there does happen to be a leaked image of a Talia Clayface model in the Arkham City files, which to say the least is extremely creepy. What did they do to my girl Talia? This one is just also really weird. What could have possibly been potentially used for? Maybe Clayface turns into Talia originally for the final boss fight in the movie theater, and so the person Bruce is speaking to is Clayface and Talia is tied up somewhere. I don't know, there's definitely a lot of different versions that could have happened, but let me know which one you guys think actually is more likely to have happened. Imagine all the different versions of Clayface. Penguin Clayface, Mr. Freeze Clayface, Robin Clayface, Bane Clayface. Also, let me know if you think Clayface Talia is badder than the regular Talia. Anyways, I think it's a good time to move on. The Suicide Pursuit drone. So this one's definitely a lot more confusing. In the Arkham Wiki for cut concepts, it says in Arkham Origins, the dev team decided to scrap the idea for drones that fly around and attack Bruce, which we do end up seeing in Arkham Knight, and man, are those things annoying as shit. But anyways, if you scroll further down in the wiki, it shows an image of suicide car drone type things, but this one I do think was originally made for Arkham Knight because of the background. It more looks like Gotham City and Night, but the graphics don't, so I'm a bit confused, but it is way more likely for this to be Night because the only Arkham games with cars is Night, not Origins. But I would have liked to see the model for the Origins drones and how close it was in comparison to the one in Night that we see. But to me, this one is way creepier if it was in Origins. I mean, there's nobody around, it's all quiet because of the snow, then you just hear a buzz of a drone coming closer, and then it begins to chase you and boom! Point is, either way, it was in Night or City, it could be creepy to say the least, but Night's is pretty cool. I don't know how they would have made it unmanned since it definitely doesn't look militia. It's not nearly as high-tech enough to fight the friggin' Bat, but it would have been fun to be able to blow up some cars with machine guns on top in Night. Going back to the original game, Arkham Asylum, one of the most known cut concepts from the series is the head in the jar Easter egg that originally was supposed to be a character model for another type of lunatic. But did you know what he was going to be like? So if the regular lunatics weren't already creepy enough, well, it could have been even worse. They were already going to be creepy, but this time they'd have some sort of blunt weapon they would have carried around and cause havoc. This was indeed scrapped though by the dev team at Rocksteady, and so they ended up putting the unused character model in a jar, which is just such a nice interior decorating design. But anyways, it is a cool little detail, and it would have been so nice to have more diversity within the lunatics, but what I will say is that they are some of the scariest parts of the Arkham games. There were times I would slowly edge around through a door because I thought more lunatics were waiting to jump me. Dare I say they're up there with Croc in the scariest parts of Arkham Asylum? So, we all know how Joker looked a bit worse for wear in Arkham City. He definitely wasn't looking good enough to be on Vogue, but at least he didn't look like this. Oh wait, there's nothing there. Anyways, originally it was planned for Joker to look even sicker, and I don't mean in the cool way. Jokes aside, Joker was originally meant to look even worse. More diseased, sickly, and overall in worse condition than what we might have ended up seeing in Arkham City. It's hard and creepy to even imagine what he could have looked like. I also do think it would have been kind of cool if he had some more physical alterations from taking the Titan formula, like maybe his back still has huge bones from his overgrown spine he had, or if Rocksteady went with what we saw earlier, the spider, maybe Joker's limbs would have been too long or overgrown. They could have really made it more body horror, but after the success of the first game, I'm gonna go ahead and guess they wanted City to be more enjoyed by a wider audience, and so they ended up toning down Joker's condition and his looks and went for more of a traditional superhero stance, which I think is where we lost a lot of the horror elements we see in Arkham Asylum. But again, it's hard to replicate that when you switch from an insane asylum to a city for prisoners in downtown. But let's go ahead and move on. Now, if you watch my channel for a bit, you'd know one of my biggest ops. A short, ugly pedo named Jarvis Tetch, aka the Mad Hatter. So in all seriousness though, Mad Hatter originally was meant to have a much larger role in Arkham Asylum. Well, anything is larger than what he had, I guess. But anyways, Mad Hatter was actually meant to be a villain in the game, having an entire boss fight section where Batman is going through a maze on the island called the Children's Hedge Maze. Now this could definitely have been a creepy section, a sort of Killer Croc-esque style, where there's a plethora of jump scares, with this one maybe even having the possibility of being scarier. I also did hear that he was potentially supposed to be in the Poison Ivy boss fight, however that was meant to work, but in the end, Rocksteady devs did end up finding that he just didn't match the whole vibe that they were targeting for Arkham Asylum, which I can definitely see. It's such a beautiful game, who'd want an ugly little rat in it? But I will say, it would have been nice to be able to beat Hatter up an extra time. But I would have actually liked to see that maze mission. It kind of sounds cool. Maybe having Bruce hallucinating while going through. Maybe we could even get another hallucination of Bruce seeing his parents die again. It's become quite the tradition in Arkham. Poor Bruce. Anyways, let's move on. We have barely saw any of Alberto Falcone in Arkham Origins. We rarely see the guy anywhere in DC, especially in the Penguin. Bro died in 5 minutes of the first episode. But staying on track here, there's actually a cutscene of Joker as Black Mask torturing Alberto Falcone, which in and of itself is scary. But imagine a full minute of hearing Alberto scream as the most demented version of the Black Mask is torturing him in every which way. Besides the absolute serious, I mean, what the hell. I presume Carmine would have been pretty angry to say the least. I mean, it would have been cool to see a dynamic between the Joker gang and the Falcones in the Arkham games. Maybe we'll see in the new Arkham Live Service game.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Hey now, come on. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about that below. It's definitely interesting. It could be good, but anyways, this cutscene kind of makes me think about all the other cutscenes we never got to see in the Arkham games. Maybe they finally brought Killer Moth back, but I guess we'll just never know. If you played Arkham Knight before, there's a good chance you would know about the Victor Zsaz Easter egg you can see on the security camera in the Watchtower. But did you know the most infamous serial killer in Gotham actually had an entire scrapped mission and boss fight that ended up getting cut out? But what's interesting is that he has the exact same character model and design as in Arkham City, which leads many to believe that all of his cut concept got cancelled a lot earlier on, or potentially even in Arkham City development, or right after Rocksteady got finished with the game. Either way, would it really have worked in Night though? I mean, Professor Pig's mission is pretty much this. I've heard some people say that Zsaz was also removed from the game because it was way too close to pigs. I mean, finding brutally murdered people and doing it until we come to see a final boss fight against another really weird serial killer? Yeah, a little too similar to say the least. The Riddler actually had a bit of a redesign for his cell, a creepy one at that. So, in Arkham Asylum, there were some cut concepts of Riddler's cell having red question marks, footprints, and more drawn in blood, as well as writing in French in the same blood that says, "I loved, I suffered, now I hate," which in itself portrays Riddler in a more manic light before we ever got to see him in the games. This would have been really interesting if they kept this, because the Riddler we see in Night and City really doesn't seem the type to have blood all over his cell room. Not to say he hasn't done messed up stuff in the games, especially in Arkham City, but to me, this is a different level of insanity. We really haven't seen much of an Arkham Riddler. He even wrote hell in question mark in blood. Now, whose blood this is, we don't really know. I could see it being rat blood that he just obtained, but it's all speculation. This is an extremely creepy detail that really does paint Edward in a more Zsaz type of light. It shows a lot more raw emotion and confusion Edward carried throughout his life and his constant anger. I mean, this would be crazy. Imagine playing Arkham Asylum for the first time back when it came out and you saw this in Riddler's Cell. You'd think he's like a completely different character. But anyways, definitely a really cool creepy detail, but let's go ahead and move on to the final detail. A truly evil device. Definitely one of Batman's most powerful weapons. Shark repellent. No? Really? Well, at least it's involved with a very creepy part of the Arkham games. So anyways, this is actually, to me, might be one of the funniest things I've ever heard in the Arkham games, and it's so Batman. So anyways, apparently there's a deleted cutscene, or plan of one, where when Tiny, Penguin's giant shark, bites into Batman's raft inside the Iceberg Lounge in Arkham City, Batman reaches for an open compartment on his utility belt that is labeled shark repellent. He then pulls out brass fucking knuckles and proceeds to punch Tiny the shark. That is actually hilarious to me. I mean, Batman can make an entire line of these things and sell them. Goon repellent, Ra's al Ghul repellent, Penguin repellent, the list goes on. And all he has to do is pull out some brass knuckles. Anyways, I thought this was hilarious, and so I had to add it in. Let me know if you would have wanted to see this cutscene in the game. It may set off the vibe that they are going for, but I still think it's absolutely hilarious. And deserves justice, but yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. These were definitely something, and pretty creepy to say the least. Let me know if you did enjoy this video, and what cut concepts you know that weren't in this video. Also, I'd love your thoughts on the ones I presented today. I mean, Talia is still fine, which may be a crazy take, but you know. I would love to do another video on cut concepts, just comment below. And other than that, I always love to hear some of your other video recommendations that you guys all want to see, so please comment, but make sure to join up in the Discord. I'll link it below, and I would genuinely appreciate it if you wouldn't mind subbing to the channel. And as always, make sure to stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.